This portion of G Squared with Gary and Greg is brought to you by Chevy Cobalt and your neighborhood Chevrolet dealers, reminding you, sure, it's just a shit rental car, but at least it doesn't kill people like Toyotas do. Chevy Cobalt, an American revolution.
Well, it usually starts with some sponsor name. It's the Conexico, Nextel 411 dial only smiles everyone lap band Arrowhead Pond.
Are they naming sports arenas after like medical devices now? I mean,
Yeah.
I was fine with Verizon Wireless, but now if we're going with the lap band, I'm not so sure about that. The Trojan Condoms Arena this Saturday night. That's not a bad idea, though. Well, or the Cox Arena, which I like. I think Cox should get into more of that.
Well, San Diego actually does have the Cox Arena.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
I don't know my sports arenas all that well.
Yeah.
I guess I should probably.
Well, they don't have a real team for it, but I think the what it used to be called the San Diego Sports Arena or something like that was the Cox something at one point in time.
Oh, really? So it's not a problem.
Or if there's some way, to actually just mount the phone in a fashion that it could be right by the microphone, so that you don't have to just hold it up. But
to
yeah,
mount
I guess
the
I'm
phone?
having to hold it up right now too.
Yeah, it's not that bad actually. It's just it creates a little different thing in my headphones over here than I was used to, because I'm hearing myself coming from two different places, so it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But did you say mount
if you
the
just
phone?
Mount the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Or as our grandparents would say, shove it up your ass.
Yeah, they'd say have relations with the phone, wouldn't they? Because they didn't say such explicit things like that as.
Right.
You need to mount that.
And they didn't have sex either, just so you know.
I think they did, but just the one time. I get the impression with the parents it was just the one time to have the kid, and
Right.
after that they just stopped.
Procreation.
Yeah. Did your parents call each other mother and dad by any chance, or
No.
You know what I'm talking about though?
Yeah. Dan's parents did that.
Oh, really?
Yep, Mama and Daddy.
Yeah, they'd be at the store. They're like, "Mother, you got your pocketbook with you?" No, Daddy, or wherever they go there. Usually, it was the guy calling the wife mother, and I always thought that was kind of weird. Our satellite radio, I decided yesterday that I'm over it. The novelty's worn off. Like I've had it for 4 months.
Was that like when you got the first bill?
No, because I still
for the free 6 months.
Yeah, no, because that was good. I felt good about. Well, wow, this is great for free, but I think that it's even with it's the same concept as with TV. It's like there's over 200 channels on satellite radio, much like there is on cable TV. There's dozens of channels,
Right.
but you still find yourself listening to only like 3 or 4 or maybe 5 of them, and so it still becomes just like everything else, where after you listen to it for a while, you start hearing the same stuff over again. It's like I was so jazzed about this first wave, because they had all this great 80's music that I like, all the 80's British Invasion, New Wave, Tears for Fears, and Howard Jones and everybody. But it's like there's a limit to that too, and it's like, okay, I hear the same songs over there, and then I discovered they have Richard Blade. I'm like, oh, Jesus,
And then it becomes sad.
Right.
You're like, oh man, that guy was so cool at one time.
He was.
Now he's like off in some little island doing a satellite radio show for like $6 an hour.
It's the world famous K-Rock, rock of the 80's. And it's like, no, it's not the 80's
Right.
anymore. Not the 80's anymore, Rick. I'm sorry. It's rock of the 80's and the 90's.
On his island, they don't really know that it's not anymore. So.
Yeah, it's it still is there. Oh, and then of course they've got the I don't know if it's that channel, but I told you before they've got almost all of the original MTV DJs: Martha Quinn,
right.
Alan Hunter, Mark Goodman, and Nina Blackwood, and they do their thing and they talk about the 80s, and oh yeah, I remember I met the guys in Duran Duran, and you're like,
right,
oh no, please,
right.
Oh, and there's a traffic that gives the channel that gives the traffic reports for every city in the country. So like if I'm like driving along, it's like, I wonder what the traffic's like in Atlanta. You can flip over
right.
and listen to that, but then it's like,
right.
but it just gets old. Seriously, it's like now I'm like, well, I'm glad they're not billing me for it, and that I'm stealing it for free because I really don't want to pay for it anymore.
One thing I'm thinking is like, so why don't we get a satellite radio show, okay? And we'll do this traffic from all these other cities, but we'll just make it up because who cares? How could you possibly know? If you're in Los Angeles listening to us, you can't possibly know if there's really an accident at 4th and, Mayfield in Chicago. So we'll make it a really dramatic accident too, and we'll like give live reporting from the accident where we're watching the bodies be shoveled up. It'll be like, oh my God, thank God I'm not there. This traffic here doesn't seem so bad after all.
It's like, Gary, this is a nightmare over here. There's a 16 car. I guess you don't want to go too far because people won't. If it's too outlandish, people won't believe you. But yeah, you could kick it up a little bit. It's like there's a 5-car pileup. You can see the flames from like where I'm at up here. It's like Jesus Christ! Oh God! Somebody's dead. They are. It's like
when you're on the LA freeway in traffic, all of a sudden it puts things in perspective.
Yeah, it's like
you're sitting back and going, huh? Well, all right. I can sit here for another hour.
It's like, yeah, at least you're not burning to death in Atlanta in a car or Chicago or whatever it was. And see, the traffic for places like LA and stuff is easy because no matter what you give, it's always bad. You can always say there's slowing on the I-5 from Alondra Boulevard all the way to the 210, and I guarantee you it will be because
oh man,